Welcome into Game Day Scoreboard. Joe Musso pleased to be with you as fantasy soon turns reality. A new NFL season mere hours away, and according to our friends on the app, September 3rd, the most active draft day in fantasy football. So with that, we bring you this. Two of the finest minds in fantasy football here, Heath Cummings and Aizer, in to talk breakouts, busts, and a couple potential difference makers. Fellas, thanks for stopping by, but an even louder thanks to your loved ones for lending us your next 5 months. Let's start with those sleepers, mid to late round difference makers. Heath, who's a guy you feel could outperform an ADP this year?
You know, I like a lot of the rookie wide receivers that are available after round 8, but Brian Thomas Jr. seems to be the one of the group that I really like that goes the latest, often falling all the way until round 10, according to ADP. He moves into that Calvin Ridley role from last year in the Jacksonville offense. And if you'll remember, Calvin Ridley was not short on opportunities. He was just short on production. There were a number of miscues in the red zone or downfield. Trevor Lawrence, actually one of the most accurate passers on deep balls, and that's where Brian Thomas Jr. thrives. Listen, with most rookie wide receivers, you have to be patient. We've seen a lot of first-round rookie wide receivers that have struggled in the first half of their season. Some people maybe even dropped them for worse players, and then they explode in the second half. That might be the type of production that you get from Brian Thomas, but I see him as the #1 wide receiver for Jacksonville in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I think that's a good call, and I think there are a lot of good wide receivers going in that range or even later. JSN, Jamison Williams, these are guys I target. One guy I want to highlight, though, is Khalil Shakir, who has never had more than 6 targets in a game in 2 NFL seasons. But here's a small sample size stat. In 4 games with 5 or 6 targets, he's been 75 yards or more in 3 of those 4 games. He's very efficient, actually led all receivers in yards per target last year, but it's only 45 targets, so we can't make much of it. But what I would say about Shakir is if you think he's just, this little slot receiver that doesn't do much, just going to catch some passes, he's not Cole Beasley. He's got, you're seeing the video here, he's got yak ability big time. I think he could have a really big season. It's up for grabs. We had 240-something targets between Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs last year, and it's up for grabs in that Bills receiving core, which includes Dalton Kincaid. It wouldn't shock me if Khalil Shakir led the team in targets. I think he's going to be really good value, 125th overall.
Yeah, Josh Allen's going to figure out who's going to make him those plays this season, and if you see some early production, it could lead to even more eating on the back end. Speaking of the back end, those sleepers, that can be our back end difference, guys, but a breakout can buoy us week to week, even win us a championship. Adam, give me your criteria. What constitutes a breakout in your eyes, and who do you have tapped for one?
I don't know if you're setting me up for my little slogan. Sleepers win you weeks, breakouts win you leagues. TM, put it on a shirt, put it on a bumper sticker. I do love young receivers, and I think I got to catch up to Heath on this one. I think I'm probably there, but George Pickens, really excited about him. Another small sample size, but in 4 games without Deontay Johnson, he had a 29% target share. He had 127, 75, 25, and 130 yards, 2 touchdowns in those 4 games. Huge games against Cleveland and Baltimore, 2 great defenses. There's really nothing I don't like about George Pickens. He's going to dominate targets for this team. He led the NFL in yards per catch last year. He just needs more targets, and he's going to get it without Deontay Johnson there. He needs more red zone targets. In his career, only 14 red zone, 7 green zone, and only 11 end zone targets in the regular season. That's in 2 years. So we need more, but I think we'll get that from Russell Wilson. Pickens going to have a huge year. I would consider taking him in the 3rd round, but you can wait until the 5th.
I got George Pickens in the 5th of a draft that Adam and I think did today, so I was very happy to do that. And I will say, you don't have to worry so much about those red zone targets for George Pickens. The Steelers haven't been in the red zone. Nobody's been getting red zone targets in that offense. Their new quarterback, Russell Wilson, threw more touchdown passes in his terrible season last year than the Steelers had the past 2 seasons combined. But that's enough on George Pickens. My favorite breakout, Rashee Rice. At the beginning of the offseason, way back in March, we put together our first list of rankings and projections. Rice was a top 12 wide receiver for me. Then we had some off-the-field issues. We had the Marquise Brown signing. We had the Xavier Worthy draft pick, and his ADP fell all the way. I think he was being drafted as wide receiver 35 at one point. Well, the suspension doesn't appear to be happening. Marquise Brown now has a shoulder injury, and I'm back here looking at those second-half splits. We just talked about it. Rookie wide receivers who break out in the second half of the season. Amon-Ra St. Brown did it. Justin Jefferson did it. A.J. Brown did it. Rashee Rice did it last year. Averaged 8.5 2.5 targets per game, was on pace for 112 catches after he became a full-time player. The Chiefs' record for receptions in a season, Tyreek Hill, 111. Rice has a chance to break that this year. He is a top 12 wide receiver for me. We were taking him in round 7, round 8 earlier in the summer. I took him in round 2 today, and I love it.
Music to my ears, holding some Rashee Rice myself. I'm sorry, Adam. I was unaware that I was in breach of any sort of copyright there, but I'm glad to know that we are on the same page here, and you can put me down for an extra medium on one of those T-shirts. We are here to make money and not friends. Yes. Heath, create an enemy, or at the very least, someone to avoid here. A bust candidate this season in your eyes.
Many a fantasy expert has called Derrick Henry a bust and looked like an idiot, and it's my turn, apparently, because I just do not want to draft a 30-year-old running back, changing teams, going to an offense where the quarterback accounts for 30% of the rush attempts, and, oh yeah, doesn't throw to his running backs. In round 2, Derrick Henry is being drafted higher amongst all players than he finished at running back last season. He is one of the greatest running backs of this generation, an absolute dominating force over the last 5 years, but he's 30 years old. Father Time is undefeated. Lamar Jackson is still going to handle all those 160 rush attempts per season. Derrick Henry in round 2 is a colossal mistake. Do not make it.
Yeah, totally agree. That was my bust call as well. And as Heath mentioned, he was RB 18 per game in full PPR, and he's going 17th overall. In half PPR, he was RB 16 per game, non-PPR, RB 13 per game. I would take Derrick Henry maybe about 30th, but usually even later than that. And I haven't drafted Derrick Henry once, so that is the bust call here. You know, it's like they do actually produce a lot of running back yards and a decent amount of running back touchdowns, because Lamar Jackson doesn't run it a lot from the goal line, but I just see 2,030 career carries in a 30-year-old. So I'm going to give you a different bust just to be different. I'm going to say Travis Kelce. This is a guy that I was drafted a lot early in the process. You know, he was my tight end 1, and he still might be my tight end 1, but not by enough for me to draft him. He's going 25th overall in CBS ADP. I think he should go more like 36. I think at the end of the 3rd round. And I've been skipping him because Heath loves Rashee Rice with good reason. Marquise Brown might only miss 1 game. Xavier Worthy, he's had a pretty good offseason when he got healthy. I just don't think Kelce's going to be worth that investment. I'd rather wait, or just wait like 1 more round to get Trey McBride.
There are no guarantees in fantasy footballs, fellas, but I do promise I will try and keep this out of the inbox of King Henry. As always, Heath, Cummings, Adam Aizer, we appreciate you guys for stopping by. Draft day, if it hasn't already come, is soon approaching, with kick set for Thursday between those Ravens and Chiefs. A couple bust candidates in that first matchup of this season in the eyes of our Heath Cummings and Adam Aizer, both saying Derrick Henry, avoid him where you're going to have to get him. Maybe isn't going to be worth that squeeze, not going to be a real factor in the pass game. Lamar eating up some of that rush share. So Derrick Henry, a possible bust candidate from them both. An extra one there from Adam in the form of Travis Kelce. A sleeper, Brian Thomas Jr., Khalil Shakir. As for your breakouts, Rashee Rice, going to be an even bigger target in that Chiefs offense, and George Pickens at the behest of Russ. Coming up, the perennial All-Pro is showing up just in time. It's new money for the old vet, and we've got the details next on CBS Sports HQ.